Protein shakes, high-protein bars, protein-packed everything. It's everywhere, right? It feels like protein is being sold as the ultimate answer to, well, everything. Health, weight loss, muscle gain, you name it. But then you also hear these whispers, these warnings about eating too much. It can get seriously confusing. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise.
We are going to dig into the science and answer that one core question. How much protein do you actually need? And here's a spoiler, the answer isn't just one simple number. It's a little more personal than that. First, let's look at the official number, because that's where a lot of the confusion really begins.
All right, so first things first, we have to understand the official starting line. This is the baseline number that all those popular high-protein diets are stacked up against. And honestly, it creates what I like to call the protein paradox.
Okay, so the official term is the Recommended Dietary Allowance, or RDA. But the key word here, the one you really need to hear, is minimum. The RDA is not the optimal amount for your goals. It's the absolute bare minimum you need to just, not get sick from a deficiency. Think of it as the nutritional floor, not the ceiling you should be aiming for.
And there it is. For a healthy but basically sedentary adult, the RDA is just 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram you weigh. So for a 150-pound person, that's only about 54 grams of protein a day. And you're probably thinking, that's it? That seems really low. And you're right. That's the paradox. This super low baseline is what scientists use as a starting point to figure out if eating more protein actually does more for us.
So if that low number is just the bare minimum, what happens when we go above it? Well, let's talk about the number one reason protein is so popular right now, weight loss. And I gotta tell you, it's not just hype. There is some really solid science that explains how more protein can be a seriously effective tool for managing your weight. And it really comes down to these three key things. High-protein diets help you feel fuller for longer, which is huge. They actually make your body burn more calories just digesting the food. And maybe most importantly, they help you hold on to your muscle, which is absolutely crucial for your metabolism. And that whole feeling fuller thing, it's not just in your head. It's a real hormonal response. When you eat protein, your body literally pumps out hormones that tell your brain, hey, we're good down here, you can stop eating. And at the very same time, it slams the brakes on ghrelin. That's the hormone that makes your stomach growl. It's a powerful 1-2 punch against feeling hungry all the time. Now, the second mechanism is something called the thermic effect of food. And put simply, your metabolism has to work way harder. It has to really fire up the furnace to break down protein. Look at these numbers. Your body uses 20 to 30% of protein's calories just to digest it. Compare that to carbs or fats, and it's not even close. It's like getting a little metabolic boost with every single meal. Okay, this right here might be the most important part of the puzzle. When you're trying to lose weight, you don't just lose fat. You almost always lose some muscle too. And because muscle burns more calories than fat, even when you're just sitting there, losing it can make your metabolism slow down. That makes it so much easier to regain the weight later. Eating more protein helps protect that precious muscle, keeping your metabolic engine humming along.
But hey, protein isn't just about weight loss. Not at all. That's just one piece. Your protein needs can change dramatically depending on how old you are and how active you are. That 0.8 grams per kilogram baseline, it just doesn't work for everybody.
And you can really see the difference here. If you're an endurance athlete, you need more protein for fuel and repair. If you lift weights, you need even more to actually build new muscle. And check out the number for older adults. As we get older, our bodies get less efficient at using protein. It's a thing called anabolic resistance. So we actually need more just to hang on to the muscle we've got. The reason the numbers are so different comes down to how your body uses protein for different activities. Think of it this way. Long-distance running actually burns through some of your protein for energy. But lifting weights, that's totally different. It acts like a switch, making your muscles super sensitive to the protein you eat and telling them, okay, time to repair and grow.
And for all you runners, cyclists, and swimmers out there, here's a really important finding from recent research. It's not just about slamming protein. The real magic for your performance happens when you combine that protein with carbohydrates. That combo is way more effective at fueling your performance and recovery than a high-protein, low-carb approach is.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of benefits, but let's talk about the other side of the coin. What about the risks? There are a couple of really persistent myths about high-protein diets that we just have to tackle head-on with some real evidence.
This is the big one. This is by far the most common worry people have.
The idea that processing all that extra protein puts a dangerous amount of strain on your kidneys. So, is it true? What does the science actually say?
Well, this quote from a big 2020 scientific review really clears it up. What it's saying is this: for people who already have healthy kidneys, study after study shows that a high-protein diet does not cause harm. The story changes, though, if you have a pre-existing kidney condition. In that case, yes, it can make things worse. The key is knowing if your kidneys are healthy to begin with.
The other big myth you hear is that high-protein diets leach calcium from your bones, making them weak. But again, the long-term research has pretty much debunked this. In fact, it seems the opposite might be true. Getting enough protein is vital for bone health, and for older adults, it might even help protect against bone loss.
So, we know how much to aim for, and we know that for most of us, it's perfectly safe. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, it's time to move beyond obsessing over grams and start thinking about something much more important: quality.
I absolutely love this idea of the protein package. It's a reminder that we don't eat nutrients in isolation, we eat food. And all the other stuff that comes along for the ride, the fats, the vitamins, the fiber, that whole package is just as important as the protein itself.
So here's your playbook. You want to choose sources low in saturated fat. A 20-gram serving of protein from a piece of salmon is a very different package from 20 grams in a processed hot dog. And try to space your protein out through the day instead of just having one giant steak for dinner. Your body can only use so much for muscle building at one time, so spreading it out is way more effective.
And look, hitting your goals is so much easier than you think, and you can do it with a variety of delicious, whole foods. You don't need to spend a ton of money on fancy powders and supplements. A balanced diet with things like fish, chicken, Greek yogurt, beans, nuts, that can give you all the high-quality protein you need.
So, at the end of the day, protein isn't some magic bullet, but it is an incredibly powerful tool. The right amount isn't one size fits all. It really depends on you, your age, your activity, your goals. But the biggest takeaway here is to focus less on hitting some perfect number of grams and way more on the quality of the entire protein package. So now that you know the science, what's the right package going to look like for you?